Went to a meeting last night. Well, one of my good friends in the program and I were the first ones to arrive, and as we sat there waiting, he told me a story, and I'd like to share that with you. Earlier that day, he had taken his 88-year-old mother to a doctor's appointment, and then they stopped at the grocery store. Well, as they were waiting in the checkout line, a fella came up behind them, and they started talking. Well, this guy asked if the elderly woman was my friend's mother, said in fact it was. And the guy said, well, that's really cool. I took my mother shopping this past weekend, and what a blessing. And then he leaned in and said, I don't know if you need to hear this or not, but I'm proud of you. Well, my friend was a little taken aback by the comment, and he thought, that was a nice thing to say, but a little strange for one random dude to say to another in the grocery store. But turns out those were exactly the words of encouragement that he needed to hear in that moment. Well, about the time he got done telling me that, the door to the meeting room opened and a couple walked in. And I didn't recognize the woman, but the guy I recognized from other meetings around the area. As soon as this guy and my friend saw each other, though, they stopped, they kind of locked eyes, and all of a sudden they both burst into laughter. Well, it turns out this guy was exactly the same one from the grocery store earlier that afternoon. I mean, what? What a crazy coincidence that he should walk into that meeting right then. Well, we all shared a laugh about it and agreed that that was just too much of a God thing to be a mere coincidence. The experience was incredibly meaningful for both the gentleman and myself as well. It served as a real-time confirmation that our higher power is actively involved in our lives. There was a definite purpose to this interaction, and all of us felt that impact. So what do we take away from this? As alcoholics in recovery, when we follow the steps, maintain connection to our higher power, God, we believe, He shows up in our lives. Step 2, we acknowledge our higher power. Step 3 and 11 both emphasize seeking to follow His will and His purpose. A couple of the prayers we often recite reflect this guidance. The Step 3 prayer that starts out, Dear God, I offer myself to Thee. It ends with, May I do Your will always. The Step 7 prayer, I believe it is, My Creator, I'm now willing that You should have all of me. It also ends up, grant me strength as I go out from here to do Your will. If you haven't been praying these prayers, I encourage you to look them up and start using them in your daily life. And if you are praying these prayers, pay attention to the ways that God can show up in your life, even in everyday situations, mundane things like going to the grocery store. And remember, if you ever feel prompted to offer a word of encouragement to a stranger, trust that instinct. It might be exactly what they need to hear in that moment. God could be working through you. Living sober is more than just about abstaining from alcohol. Step 12 teaches us that we're to carry this message to other alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs, which includes seeking and living out God's will in our daily lives. Hey, I hope you have a good day. Stay strong and take yourself to a meeting.